All right, good evening, guys. Sorry for the delay. Some unplanned technical difficulties, but we are online first English podcast, so forgive me for some language mistakes. But that way or the other, I would like to welcome Art,
Hello.
my guest for tonight. Thanks a lot for having the time. And in case you don't know who Art is one of the best vehicle players I know in BF4, obviously a YouTube creator. I will show you his channel in a second. Link to Art's channel and Twitter, etc., are in description of this video. Video is available on YouTube now live, and it will be available tomorrow on my channel. But finding Art's channel shouldn't be too much of a hassle. Just type AkaArt in YouTube search engine, and it will pop out right away. But without further ado, Art, well, welcome one more time, and let's go straight to our little podcast, or in this case, it's going to be more of an interview. Please tell us a few words about yourself, as much as you like, of course. When did you start playing? What platforms? What games? Etc.
Okay, well, we'll start with PC. When I first got onto PC, it was the 1st of January 2015, so right at the beginning of the year. It's the first proper gaming PC I had, and that was the first time I started to play Battlefield as well. Wasn't really into gaming that much beforehand. Played FIFA and stuff on the console, a bit of Call of Duty, but not really to this extent. Got my PC around Christmas time, started my YouTube channel on the 1st of January, decided to focus on Battlefield because it was quite fun, and the rest is, well, not really history at this point, but it's been pretty good so far. Nearly 2 years of gaming.
All right. To make it a little bit more interesting, in the background, I will play a few of your YouTube videos, different ones with helis, tanks, and other vehicles, just to make it a little bit more interesting. And we will talk about it a little bit later. But I do know that you did play on console before. Could you tell us a little more about that as well?
Yeah. Well, I think my first proper console probably was the Xbox 360. Everyone had one of those. It was good fun. I mean, I used to play a lot of FIFA and stuff on it, but nothing, that intense online. Then I got the PlayStation 4, and that's when I got Battlefield 4. So that kind of got me hooked. And I was a massive fan of the setup, just chilling out, playing a bit of console gaming. Nothing massively technical about it. You don't really have to update or change parts or fiddle with hardware. It's quite simple. But it kind of wasn't really enough for me, if you know what I mean. I had to take that extra step and have more FPS, better.
I know exactly what that.
Yeah. So I'm guessing it's quite a similar move to what you made to move from console to PC. That's kind of the same approach that I had.
Pretty much. All right. So you just made a step, let's say 1 year earlier. Yeah. And while you were playing on console, did you also play vehicles? Was BF4 your first Battlefield title?
I had BF3 on the 360, but I didn't really play it that much. Played the campaign a bit, but as I said, I wasn't massively into gaming, so I think I got the game lent to me from a friend or something. I didn't buy it myself. But in BF4 on the PS4, I was really into the attack boat when the game first came out, because that thing was overpowered. It was so overpowered. And I played in the scout heli quite a bit as well, because that's easy on the sticks. Yeah, so a bit different to what I'm doing at the minute. So obviously I don't fly the scout helicopter on PC, but yeah, I think I've got my profile on Battlelog for my console days, so you can actually go and have a look at it, and my stats aren't very impressive at all. So yeah, it's a bit of a step back from what I'm doing at the minute.
All right, and then you got into PC gaming, and BF4 was, I suppose, your first BF4 game on PC. How was your transition? How did your transition go from console to PC?
Well, it wasn't great to start with. I actually plugged in a 360 controller to start off because I couldn't get used to mouse and keyboard. I suppose most people who started on PC or moved to PC will know that problem. But I decided to, stick with it, play a couple of hours just against the bots in the test range and stuff, just to get used to it. So when I did go on live multiplayer, I wasn't just getting thrashed around. by people who are used to it, because it is a big transition moving from controller to mouse and keyboard. It's something completely different.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a weird transition. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but apart from that, it's been fairly simple, to be honest. There's so many guides and people out there who will help you with anything that you've got. And obviously, I met you quite early on in during that year, 2015. I'm thinking it was February, possibly.
No, a little later. I believe it was
somewhere
around that, somewhere in that area.
Yeah.
So you've been already playing there for a few months, and well, not to be overly modest, you're really, really good in all kinds of vehicles. Well, we played together for quite some time, and you said, as far as I remember, that you are not the best if it comes to aiming on PC, but you're very aware of situations. You make basically good tactical decisions. Could you give us couple of tips, just basic tips for vehicles? I've got some of your screenshots prepared with all kinds of setups for each vehicle. Let's start with your favorite one. Which is your favorite vehicle in BF4?
Oh, that's a tricky one. At the minute, it's probably the LAV, infantry fighting vehicle, because the tow missiles are awesome fun. So, tow missile, 25mm setup, and then racing around the place, shooting helicopters and jets. That is probably the most fun I've had in a vehicle. I started off with tanks, obviously. That's where my first guides came. I think I've gone off them a bit just because I've put so many hours into main battle tanks. Probably stick with the LAV, and of course the helicopter's a lot of fun as well, but I've had so many hours in that thing that it's not got stale, but I just want a new challenge. So that's why the LAV is probably my favorite at this point.
Just a couple of words in Polish, if you don't mind, because there are some Polish viewers as well. Panowie, słuchajcie, dzisiaj tylko i wyłącznie po angielsku, dlatego że gościem jest AkaArt. Jak już pewnie wiecie, Art nie mówi po angielsku, w związku z tym nie mówi po polsku, w związku z tym rozmawiamy sobie po angielsku. Mam nadzieję, że wielkiego problemu z tym nie będzie. Jak będą goście spoza Polski, to tak to będzie musiało się po prostu odbywać, ale tak jak mówię, mam nadzieję, że wszystko będzie ok. Okay, Art, never mind. That's out of the way. By the way, the screenshots with setups are in just random order, but I will let them be on the screen for a while so everyone can have a look.
Sure.
And well, let's just go through them one by one. So you say LAV with tow missiles and 25mm. That's your favorite one.
Definitely. Well, the tow missiles mean that you can fight off pretty much any other vehicle, and the 25mm are really good against both armor and infantry. So, say you get stuck in a position where you haven't got any tow missiles, you've still got that option to fight off a vehicle with the 25mm. If you pick the canister shell, you're going to be super effective against infantry, but you leave yourself a little bit exposed when it comes to an armor battle.
Yeah, correct. I will. In the meantime, I will try to find one of your LAV clips or videos. Okay, the setup is on the screen. What about other vehicles?
So we'll go for the tank next. I've actually got a video coming out in a couple of days, so I think it'll probably be out next weekend, actually, looking at the best loadout for a tank. Even though the game's a couple of years old, there's always been one main loadout that I've gone to. It's AP shell, HMG. There's no other reason to go for anything else. Even when DICE buffed the Sabot shell, because obviously it's the newbie shell, they needed to have something that was easy to use. Yeah. The AP shell was still better overall, as long as you get to grips with the bullet drop or the shell drop on it. It's the best loadout for sure.
Do you think that loadout not really loadout but shells like the staff shell, etc. Do you think that's there's any justification for it to be on BF4?
Not particularly, because they're not even very good. So it's kind of conning the early players in the game who don't really know what to pick. They see a guided shell or a staff shell, they see something that's easy to use, so they pick it. But you fight a decent tanker, they're going to beat you every time if you've got a staff shell, because they just know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm not that good tanker, of course, but from my experience, if you don't know that someone has got a staff shell, and they hit you first time with anything else, then it's even difficult to hide sometimes, because even if you are behind the hill, you are still being hit with the staff shell. So in my opinion, it's a little bit overdone. But well, if you say you can manage, then that's fine.
Well, it's really good for your long-range tank battles. Say on Silk Road, you'd have a bit of trouble. But most tank maps, you tend to, if you know what the map layout and stuff, you tend to position yourself away from other tanks so you can sneak up and attack them. And in a one-on-one, I'd rather have an AP shell to a staff shell, just the reload and the ability to take out infantry as well.
Okay, fair enough. So your video on tanks are gonna come somewhere this weekend, you say?
Yep.
Well, once again, link to our channels in the description. Let's go for the next one. What's your next vehicle you'd like to talk about a little?
We'll go for the attack helicopter, and both the pilot and the gunner seat, because obviously they're two separate entities on Battlefield. Starting with the pilot, obviously I'm more of a gunner than a pilot, but there's one loadout that you should be using, and it's the best by far. Zunis is your main weapon, tow missile is your second, and then ECM or flares doesn't really matter. ECM is the better of the two, but it is a bit buggy. And then air radar, so you can see where other things appear. As for the gunner, you've got your 30 mils that you can't really change, and then TV missile. Most people will be using that as well. And as far as aiming and stuff goes, it's just down to practice. You practice your aim, practice your TVs and stuff like that. And I mean, you're not just going to instantly get better by watching a tips and tricks video. You have to actually put the hours in to become better at it.
That is absolutely true. But I found at least a couple of your so-called tips and tricks videos helpful, and I'm pretty sure I'm not alone, because I've seen some comments underneath, and people were saying, basically telling you that they improved better.
Yeah, they give you a push. They give you a push in the right direction. The tips and tricks videos.
Yeah,
they help you out.
Alrighty. The next one, in the meantime, I will switch from. Let's let this video finish off. That's a heli video, and then I will switch to the screen with your loadouts one more time, so everyone can have a look. AA, not your favorite vehicle probably, but still.
Yeah. The biggest thing for me with the AA gun is whether you run with the 20 mils.
I remember there was a video. You did have a video, right, with AA? Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna search for it now.
Just called the AA guide or something like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the main problem with loadout is whether you go with the 20 mils or the 30 mils. Assuming you're going with the Zunis as your secondary, because you don't want to go with heat seekers because they suck. So 20 mils obviously don't do as much damage, but have a longer reload or a longer overheat time. You can fire them for longer, and I think they've got a bigger range on them as well. Not exactly certain, but I think they have a bigger range. The 30 mils do way more damage, but they overheat a lot faster, and the range isn't as effective. And it is harder to say you've got a jet flying in the distance. You can't really ever get them with the 30 mils, because it's just like firing a slower firing gun or something. It's more difficult. But as long as you stick with one of those two, and then Zunis as your secondary, you're fine. And definitely use APS as well. Because if you come up against a tank, you hit your APS and you're saved. I
couldn't actually, right now, I couldn't find a AA video, but I found one of the montages, so that will do somewhere in the background. Okay. All right. I think we can skip Amtrak, because that's not really worth to talk about, unless you have a different opinion.
No, we'll have plenty of time in the Amtrak in Battlefield 1, I think.
yeah, that's we only have Amtraks in Battlefield 1, but we will get to it in a second. Art, if you could give 5 tips for someone who is new to the series. It's hard to imagine at this point of time, but there are still people new to BF4, and they are new to vehicles. What would be your 5 short tips for vehicle players?
Okay, we'll stick with tanks and LAVs at this point, because helicopters are a whole different thing.
Yeah, that's correct. I mean the ground vehicles, yeah.
Yeah. First of all, I'd find yourself a gunner. If you've got somebody on TS with you who's going to be in the gunner seat and will jump out and repair you, it makes your job 10 times easier. So that's the first thing. It's really important to get someone on your side. Secondly, make sure you have decent key bindings on your keyboard and your mouse for your tank, so you know exactly where change weapon is, where countermeasure is, change camera, all that stuff. Having it in just a place that you can easily hit is the best thing to be starting out with, because the last thing you want to be doing is looking at your keyboard for a button when you're in a tank fight. Number three, never overextend the your vehicle. So by that I mean, say you're behind the wall and you can see a tank in front of you. Don't push out and try and just fight him with no cover. Just peek, shoot him, and then go back behind cover. That way you're at the least risk most of the time, and it's how like the pro tankers do it. They just peek. It's called pillaring. So you peek and then you shoot and then you reverse back, and you reduce the impact of the enemy tank. Fourth, be careful about the angles of the tank. So by that I mean the back of the tank is the weakest. If you get shot in the rear, it's 50 damage. You get shot in the front, it's about 20-25 damage. So always make sure you've got your angles set up properly. There's plenty of videos online showing you exactly how to position a tank. But the main thing is just make sure no one's standing behind you with an RPG. And finally, this would go for the LAV. Never try and fight a tank or another LAV unless you have a tow missile and two magazines of 25 mils, because you can't physically beat him without that. You don't have enough ammo.
All
so
right.
yeah,
Fair enough. Fair enough. So quite simple, but I'm sure they are effective tips. One other. So basically, we've got the main tips for the ground vehicles. If it goes for boats, I presume it's pretty much the same, or are there any more specific things you want to talk about?
With the boats, it's a little different because obviously you are in the boat yourself and you're protected, and your gunners on the back aren't. So you quite often are left without somebody repairing your boat. For that reason, I would probably recommend different tips. And the best tip I've come across, say you're playing Parasail Storm, which is the most popular boat map, keep your boat away from the other boats on the map. So if you see one spotted and it's going to Echo, so the flag on the aircraft carrier that's sunk, you go to Alpha, you go to the other side of the map, and that way you're keeping away from the enemy boat and you can focus on infantry and taking out things. And then if you do come across a boat, you take him down. But the worst thing you can do is go head on and try and attack another attack boat, because that's when you get caught out, and that's when a jet comes down and just finishes off the damage, or you get hit by an RPG or a tow missile or something. So just keep your distance from other boats. That's how you get those massive kill streaks.
All right.
As you'll see, actually, coming up on my channel, I've got a nice 100+ kill streak coming up next week.
Okay. From attack boat.
Yeah, attack boat.
All right. That's good. And then the last thing, helis. Because you don't really use jets, as far as I know.
No,
not a jet guy.
Fly jet.
No. So if it goes for heli, if it comes to helis, what would you recommend? Except for having a really good pilot, of course.
Yeah, if you're a pilot, get yourself a good gunner. If you're a gunner, try and find yourself a pilot. Get on comms, so you're talking to each other on TS. It makes things so much easier. And just work together. So say you're playing Shanghai, which most people do in the heli. If the gunner sees somebody with a Stinger, tell the pilot where he is, and you can come up with code for different buildings. So there is a code for Shanghai, like different buildings have different names. And if you've got that and you can work between each other as a team, you're really difficult to take down. And you see people on Shanghai going 100, 150 for zero quite often. And it's just because they're telling each other where the risks are. So if you see a Stinger, you say, don't go there. Pilot doesn't go there, he doesn't get killed. You say, I see the heli in the distance, you work out how to kill it, and you don't go down. And it's the best way. So that's how I got fairly decent quite quickly, because I just went on TS and teamed up with some people, and it worked a treat.
All right. Fair enough. Then I will let you see the loadout, Art's loadout for all the vehicles one more time. There's also your basic loadout, like your mouse sensitivity, etc., or in-game sensitivity, I should say. What is your mouse sensitivity?
Okay, so I changed. It's actually quite an interesting topic. I spoke to a 5v5 competitive player a couple of weeks ago.
All right.
Because obviously my infantry game isn't as strong as my vehicle game, and I was wondering why. I've played quite a lot of infantry, and I didn't really know why I wasn't half decent at it. I could just be bad, but I wanted to try and just fix anything that might be slowing me down or getting better. And he said that a big mouse mat and low sensitivity is the key to getting better. He gave me an exact setting. You'll have it on screen. This is the sensitivity.
Yeah.
And I turned my DPI on my mouse to I think it's about 600 at the minute.
Okay.
So when I move my mouse from left to right, there is a tutorial. I could have a look at finding it if you really wanted to, but it shows you how far you should move your mouse on your mouse pad to do one full rotation. And since then, my accuracy has gone, a lot higher. It's gone up by 5 or 6% just by doing that.
So at this point, it's 600 DPI and about 8% in-game, as far as I could see on the screen.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's pretty much what I've been told by some really good infantry players. They play on 400 and about 10-12% in-game, but it's pretty much the same if you compare it. So I guess all good players say, all the good infantry players say, or most of them at least, that low sensitivity is the way to go. That's as far as I can tell. All right. Infantry is not your best. It's not your best thing, as you said. But once we are done with the setups, I will let it run for about a minute longer. I'll probably play it also at the end. Maybe I can find some infantry gameplay on your channel. I hope so. When I was playing with you, there was quite a few comments, especially when you were a high kill streak. There were quite a few comments in chat telling you to quote, get a life, etc., etc., get out of the vehicle, blah blah blah. What do you say to those sort of players while playing Conquest?
Thing is, yeah, the majority of people that tell me to get a life and all this stuff, I have less in-game hours than the majority of people that say that. So it's kind of funny. And as it's my first Battlefield game, I've had my PC for just over a year. Well, it's quite a bit over a year now, year and a half. I just find it ridiculous that people can still call accusations and stuff on good players. It makes no sense. Just watch a couple of tips and tricks videos, practice a bit, and you can easily do what I do. I'm not, to be honest, compared to a lot of other people in the Battlefield community, I'm not even that good. There are some people that are just unrealistic. It's unbelievable what they do.
I meant 40, because those comments like "get a life," etc. They are just let's say light insults. But what it comes to, it's just people don't like that you're in a vehicle all the time. But I mean, I don't really see the point. What are you supposed to do? Get out, kill yourself, and just run on foot? I don't really.
Well, it's the nature of the game, though, isn't it? Battlefield 4 is revolving around vehicles. That's what Conquest is. It's vehicles on a large scale map. If you don't like them, go play Domination or Team Deathmatch. There are other game modes available for people who don't like vehicles. That's the whole point of having different game modes.
Yeah.
So
that's my thought of it. So if you don't like someone who is good in vehicles and being because I can imagine, I experienced that myself. You probably as well. If someone is really good in vehicles, there are no vehicles for you to pick, and you're being annihilated by someone in the tank for the 5th time. It's kind of annoying, but. If you don't like it, you can just play TDM, Domination, or any other game mode with no vehicles whatsoever, if you ask me.
No, I could even make a tips and tricks video showing people how to take down a tank or a helicopter that's going on a crazy kill streak.
That might be quite a good, I suppose. Yeah. Well, I would definitely.
It gives away my tips, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little. I remember one of your tweets a couple of days ago. One of the guys posted some ridiculous comment on one of your YouTube videos. I didn't really got the point, but I guess it was sort of a complaining comment as well about the one that you tweeted. It was about sitting in the vehicles full game. But as I said, I've played with you a couple of games, and it's. If you don't die, there's no other danger, it's kind of, I don't know, I don't really understand what people are expecting. I have never seen anyone just suiciding because he's on high kill streak. So I would say I would go with that.
Yeah.
Another thing, BF1. you've played alpha. What are your thoughts? I mean, obviously you made a video with your initial thoughts of the alpha, but maybe you could tell us a little bit now.
Um, yeah, I'd probably err on the side of caution on giving it a review until the beta comes out.
Yeah.
I don't really know. I was disappointed because it wasn't what I thought it would be. I thought it would be more BF4 than Battlefront, and no one can deny that it does feel a lot like Battlefront. The UI is very similar. The character movement, everything like that, is more geared towards the Battlefront setup than Battlefield 4.
Yeah,
But
that's yeah.
it was an alpha, so you can't really complain. It ran fairly smoothly. It looked really good.
No, it's not really much to. I don't want you to complain, but I'm also very critical to when it comes to any, pretty much anything, and people often confuse complaining with being critical. And I don't think that you need to like everything that's new. If it comes out, it's no reason to like it, love it, be excited, and tweet about it 20 times a day, just because new game is coming out. Same with Battlefront, same with Hardline. I mean, we all do know how that ended up. And as you say, I pretty much know the same thing as you. It's really very close, much closer to Battlefront than to Battlefield 4, in my opinion. Some people totally disagree, but all right. I mean, everyone can have opinion. It's just an alpha, as you said. But I do not expect DICE or EA to change it within 2 months that they have left to release the game. That's pretty much it. They can change some voice acting and that's that kind of stuff, but I don't think they will do much more. It's not gonna be a second World War all in a sudden. So we have seen the vehicles, we have seen the planes, etc. What are your thoughts on that?
The gameplay for me is a lot slower than it should be for a Battlefield game. And I know in the World War One tanks were really slow, and if you're trying to be realistic, you're not going to have the same sort of gameplay as you had in Battlefield 4 and 3. But they're not really sticking to reality in Battlefield 1. The tanks aren't very realistic at all. The gameplay is not that realistic. Everyone's running around with machine guns, and there weren't that many machine guns in Battlefield in World War 1. So I think maybe speeding the tank gameplay up a little bit. One way to do that simply would to include a repair tool for the assault class, not just the tanker class. I think that would help quite a lot, and that's just a simple fix. Apart from that, I'll have to see the beta until I start complaining much more, because obviously I'm not that impressed, but I'm not going to rip it to pieces just yet.
Yeah, that's the same with me. But I mean, I'm surprised that you said you find it slow, because I found it very chaotic. I mean, not a vehicle gameplay, but the on-foot infantry gameplay was very, very chaotic in my opinion. It felt like 64-player Rush more than
the infantry gameplay was good. Yeah, I didn't mind the infantry gameplay. I thought it was fairly quick and half decent. It's just the tanks for me were camping on a hill, shooting people. Not really Battlefield 4 style, where you fly onto a flag and you get, RPG'd and you shoot everybody, and it's all Michael Bay and stuff like that. With Battlefield 1, it was a bit more, you got hit by a grenade and you're disabled, and that's the end of it. There's nothing you can do.
That's pretty much it. We have not seen mines yet. They're going to implement some anti-tank mines, as far as I can recall.
Yeah, so I saw that.
You're right. We will have to see. We'll probably have to see. Wait for beta, and then wait for the final game with the final conclusions. But the first impressions, I think it's fair to say, at least mine, I am not very impressed with what I have seen so far. And well, I don't know if you want to agree with it, but I expected a little more. Let's put it this way.
Yeah, I'm probably with you on that. I was expecting something a little better than what we got. But
yeah, that's probably risk. That's probably risk developers take when they blow up the hype out of proportions. But all right, that's up to them. Another thing I want to ask you, Art, we've played Rainbow Six yesterday for a couple of hours. There was first couple of hours on Rainbow Six for you, as far as I know. What can you say about this game?
I don't know, really. I haven't really put enough hours into it to make a judgment, but I prefer Battlefield, obviously, because I've had much more playtime on it. It's quite a steep learning curve. jumping straight onto the game. So if say I was playing that on my own, there's no way that I'd be getting kills at all if I was just thrown into multiplayer. The map knowledge is so crucial. Playing the whatever it is, hostage or bomb, whatever the games are called. It's so crucial to know the map layout and know where to enter the building and to protect and stuff like that. So I think you have to put hours in before you can really make a judgment on it. But it was fun. I think I'm deciding whether to buy it or not. The reason I don't really want to get it is because I don't have the time to put into it at the minute. But yeah, it was. I'm on the fence with it. I can see why people really enjoy it at the minute as well, though.
All right. Now, fair enough. I mean, it's probably what you said. I mean, we didn't play any ranked matches. We just played a couple of casual games, and those are sort of try-out fun games, especially last weekend when it was free to play for everyone. So there were tons of new players running around the map without any clue what they are doing, actually. So that's much different than actually it's totally different than playing any kind of competitive game. I do like it a lot. I'm not very good at the game because of the aiming, etc., etc. But I like it. I like it a lot. I hope you will get to it sooner or later. But of course, that's up to you. But you didn't cross it out. It's not like all over.
I haven't completely crossed it out, but I'm going to give it a little bit of time before I decide whether to get it or not.
All right.
Because I'm not just going to buy it for the sake of buying it. I want to buy it and then, get really good at it.
Yeah, obviously. Well, there's still a couple of months to BF1, if that's gonna be even a thing. We will see. I'm a little bit worried, but well, let's leave that. I'll leave that aside. For the time being, you're still playing a lot of BF4, as far as I know.
I've had a couple of weeks where I haven't played it too much, but I did play in the community event a couple of days ago. So yeah.
Oh yeah, maybe you could tell us a little bit about that.
Again, I got some videos coming out soon. It was good fun. The server was a bit buggy, so it kept on kicking people for some reason. So I think Doom49 got kicked off when he was trying to play. Stone Mountain had some trouble. But that aside, it was good fun. We got to play with a lot of the community. We got a couple of kill streaks going as well.
For someone who doesn't have any clue what it was all about, could you say?
Yeah, it's just an event that gets put on a couple of times a year where YouTubers go on one team and the community, so for instance just fans and stuff like that, go on the other team, and then you just play games of conquest and get to shoot jack frags and people like that.
Okay,
it's good fun.
All right, that was fun. So the BF4 community on PC is still more or less alive.
Oh yeah,
alive and kicking time to time. All right, and of course you play FIFA. I have to get it sooner or later, so I hope we can play some FIFA together. Are you planning on releasing any FIFA videos, or that's not really up your alley?
Not really my thing. That's kind of my casual game. I haven't played it in quite a while actually, but I just sit back on the sofa and have a game, get the controllers out and play a couple of games. But yeah, I used to really be into it, and I used to play Football Manager a lot as well. But since Battlefield 4 came out, I've been a bit quieter on that side, but I still enjoy it. So if you were to get it, I'm more than happy to do a stream playing FIFA or some videos, anything like that.
All right,
I really do enjoy it.
Okay, then we will probably get to that sooner or later. In the meantime, I will play the setup one more time. If someone wants to see the setup, then you can go ahead and have a look. It is all art setup for all the vehicles. How do you see yourself gaming in the next couple of months, except for BF1, obviously? Any games you're looking for, or?
One thing I'm really looking forward to is the Grand Theft Auto Cunning Stunts pack that's come out. I don't know if you play GTA, but there's
not at all.
No, there's a big DLC that's come out that means that you can do these weird, wacky races in supercars, massive big jumps over the map, and there are tunnels that you can whiz through. There's an old PS1 game that it's quite similar to, and I forgot the name of it, but it's basically stunt races, and they're going to release in a couple of days. They're going to release the assets so you can build your own tracks, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what people can come up with.
Okay, and there's going to be sort of GTA 5 mod.
Yeah, it's a mod that people can actually use. and it's not against the rules.
All right, but I meant like other titles than because GTA 5 is not really a new game. Any new games that you're looking forward this year?
Nothing apart from Battlefield 1, really.
Alright.
FIFA, obviously.
Yeah.
Battlefield 1, that's about it. Usually I just pick up games that take my fancy. I give them a trial, see if I enjoy them, but nothing's really caught my eye so far, so we'll have to see.
Alright. Alright, if there's... you're streaming. Did you finally get to it or not? Not yet?
It's set up, all of
Alright.
it's set up. I did a couple of test streams, but I just haven't got the motivation to actually do it. I
Alright.
much prefer creating YouTube videos than streaming. But
Okay.
I'm always on. There's a guy you know Oscar, Bavarian buddy. I'm quite often on his stream, gunning for him. So if you want to catch me, that's probably the best place.
Alright, and now I suppose you can find him somewhere on your YouTube channel or in the description of one of the videos because you play together quite often.
Yes, he'll be on my YouTube friends list on the right-hand side.
Alright. Alright, I think then that's pretty much all we wanted to talk about. There's not actually too many viewers today, unfortunately, but that's because of the probably of the stream being a little bit delayed. That's too bad, but I will post this video tomorrow on YouTube, so everyone who wants to watch it will. And well, once again, thanks for your time. I hope your tips will be useful. And guys, if you want to see art videos, once again, link is in the description, or just type AkaArt in YouTube search engine and you will find him right there. Alright, guys. Well, one more time, thanks a lot.
No problem, dude. It's been a pleasure being on.
Yeah, maybe talk to you in a couple of weeks, or maybe when BF1 comes out.
Okie dokie, dude. Nice one.
Alright, thank you.
Cheers.